Finding a change in quantities. Notice right here that change in is in quotes. This is a pretty easy concept that people get wrong a lot because they don't pay attention to this formula. Anytime a problem asks you to find the change in something, whether it's the change in time or the change in elevation or the change in temperature, what they want you to do is take your end value or where you end up and you subtract your original value and where you start. So it's really important that you always take like your last known value and you subtract what comes before that. Let's look at an example. The daily closing prices of a utility stock for 1 week are given below. Find the change in the closing price from day to day. So if we look at this chart, we can see on July 12th what the closing price was, on July 13th what the closing price was. So what we want to know is what was the change. What you always do is take the latter date and subtract the earlier date, kind of like n minus original. Same idea. So in this case, what you want to do is we want to take $122.76 and subtract $121.42. When you do that, you're going to see that we get a positive $1.34. And since it's stocks here, I'm going to actually put a plus sign there. Notice it went up $1.34. Again, that's easy to see. You can tell it's going up this day. But what happens is if you switch this around and subtracted the other way, 42, you would get a negative $1.34. And I've seen that. People will put that there and it doesn't make sense. From here to here, it did not decrease, it actually increased. So you need to be very careful that you subtract the latter date from the earlier date. If we look at the next one, you're going to do the same thing. If I want to find the change for this date, I'm going to take where it is now, $123.51, and I'm going to subtract what it was the day before, $122.76. When you subtract that there, you're going to see that there's an increase of 75 cents. Again, normally we don't put plus signs, but since we're talking about the stocks, they usually do have positives and negative values. If I want to know the change on July 15th, I take where we are right now, $121.19, and I subtract what it was previously, $123.51. Again, when you do that, this time we get a negative $2.32. We can see that it went down. And finally, if I want to know the change on July 16th, I take where I am now, and I subtract what I was the day before, or where it was the day before. And we get a negative $4.13. Again, a simple idea of just subtracting, but always check to make sure your answer is reasonable, that it makes sense, that you can see if it's going up, your answer is positive, and if it's going down, your answer should be negative.